Absolutely. Chairman, you want to call the meeting to order?
Call the meeting to order.
All right. Reading the PMA statement on February 1st, 2022. Notice of this meeting was posted to the official Bellmawr Redevelopment Agency website and emailed to both the Courier Post and Gloucester City News newspapers for publication. The official notice to the Borough Clerk was emailed on February 2nd, 2022, which included a request for publication of the notice to the official Borough of Bellmawr website and bulletin board. All requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act have been met in compliance with the Sunshine Law. Time for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance
To
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
for which it
stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice
for all.
We're getting better at that.
Yeah, getting the cadence down. All right, roll call. Chairman Frank Philippek.
Present.
Vice Chair Ray Bider.
Here.
Commissioner D'Angelo.
Here.
Commissioner Kapados. He had said that he could not make it. Commissioner Whitman.
Here.
Commissioner Patel. He as well did say he could not make it. And Commissioner Simpson, I believe, is joining us at the moment. So if we can just pause for just 1 second. Jeff, are you on?
I'm here.
All right, very good.
Yep.
You're in. Management professionals, Josh Regier, Executive Director. I am here. Mike McKenna.
Present.
And Dennis McNulty, Engineer.
Present.
All right, standard agenda for this evening. Begin with the reading of the minutes. The regular meeting, April 19th, 2022.
Make a motion. We dispense with minutes.
I have Mr. Bider on the motion.
I second it.
Mr. Simpson on the second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Any nays? Ayes have it. Communications, we've received the redevelopers report for May of 2022, which Mr. Kenna will brush through, and it was regarding the traffic engineers report. He elected to submit his quarterly report for Q2 next month, as he feels he'll have some more information based on all of our dealings with the DOT and the county on the Creek Road Connector project to see what we can do to possibly expedite. With that, any commissioner reports? If you have something, if you want to speak up, please do so. All right, that brings us to the executive director's report. Pretty much have practically finished with all the Edmonds conversion stuff, getting that QC'd and all updated. So that'll be completed by the end of next week. In terms of just QC in 2022, all the prior years have been validated. With that, also we'll be looking to complete audit 2020 possibly next month, as well as do the official intro of the 2020, I should say budget 2020 budget, as far as the intro, because we've been on a temporary because we could not get the official done without the prior year audit completed. So basically all that will just be finishing up from a state processing standpoint. Creek Road Connector, we've had 2 meetings since our last meeting. First one was held with the county on the 26th. And again, this is in an effort to localize the project in order to perhaps expedite and condense the construction timeline. Second meeting was held yesterday, hosted by the DOT. And basically, again, looking at possible solutions on where there may be opportunities to push the project up and shave some time off by looking at some things locally. So outside of that, we're waiting for the DOT to contact us back on the next meeting, and I believe they said it would be somewhere in the around 3 to 4 weeks. Any questions on my report before I turn it over to Mike? All right, Mike.
All right, thanks, and good evening, everybody. You know, the shorthand way of saying where we are based on the redevelopers report to us on all fronts is incremental progress. And there was some colloquy at the beginning, before the meeting started, about how slow government can roll. And each month, if you compare the reports from the month before, you'll see each of the categories is proceeding. There'll be some new development, and yet it's really a game of long ball that we're all playing here. Tidelands received, for instance, their $1 million check, I want to say 5-6 weeks ago, and only now, and only when the redeveloper sent a runner up to get the documents, the signed documents, so that they could record what they paid for 5-6 weeks ago. Only then did that happen, and that was just today. So that's the way it goes, but the only way that you can make the steady progress is to keep pushing. Green Acres, that's moving along. We are, as the agency, are not as much the tip of the spear on those issues as council is and are. So that while we're involved, and there's going to be a point in time where Green Acres approvals are very important to us, particularly with respect to our park. In terms of the applications and the necessity for designations, it's Howard Long and the Redevelopers Council that'll be principally pushing that ball, because there are other councilmatic issues that are being resolved with the redevelopers kicking in of additional acreage. One thing that happened just recently, and again, council with NJDOT, council has pretty much had lead role in that issue. Although again, it's critically important to us as well, the connector road. We have used the connector road as a clock. It's one of the timelines that really kicks things off and starts clocks for us. I was able to participate in this most recent meeting yesterday, 17 participants, and its sole purpose was to see whether we can speed up the timeline for that part of the DOT project, the connector road. And it was initiated by the redeveloper, who appears to be ready, willing, and able to, if they can pull this off, to pre-fund the construction costs with the hopes of refund, not hopes, but anticipation of a refund. And the only way to do that would be to get the county involved. The county's thinking about it. A couple of issues were explored, and we're down to an option that remains that is possible with the county. And the county didn't say no. They just had to take a look at some things. There were 17 participants in this phone call yesterday, and yet it ran pretty well. DOT was open, and the county was open and, you know, receptive. They asked really pointed questions that they wouldn't have asked if they weren't willing. And overall, I was impressed with I'm just impressed with the several layers of government being willing to consider deviating from the same old course, even though it's going to be harder for them. I mean, let's face it, nobody likes to go off the path. And apparently the path, when the federal money is involved, is a little harder to get off of. But they were willing to consider it to the degree where they're asking questions. It was kind of impressive that the developer was really willing to go out there just for the advantage of trying to speed up the process, save maybe a year to 2 years off the process. And that would require them to really, you know, advance substantial time and even more substantial money to make that happen. So the rest of it is sort of just moving right along. You can see that this is not a linear process, but rather that it's perhaps circular, where all the way around the circle, you're still advancing it and getting things done. And on each phase, you'll see that there is progress, sometimes incremental and perhaps not even noticeable, but we know that it's happening. And you know, I like to just report and summarize the report as saying progress. But I wanted to bring the NJDOT meetings that, you know, our representatives have put together and say that was an impressive effort on all concerned. So That's all I have. I'm certainly willing to talk about questions. I did want to indicate one thing I think and I maybe could take a role in this. I'd like to initiate a little bit faster pace with Deptford. I mean, they've been cooperative, but fairly passive. And to me, there's no reason why we don't get our business done with Deptford as early as possible. They are starting their redevelopment process, but after that, they've got to get a redevelopment agreement that will mirror ours. And then and only then can we talk with them about the joint services agreements necessary for us to serve their property and offset the costs. So I will, basically represent that I'm going to initiate that process. And I'll certainly include Howard Long. The process got started with an invite to the mayor, but it sort of has languished. And I'd like to just try and pick up the pace on that if I could. So that's all I have for tonight.
Any questions for Mike before we move on to new business? All right, brings us to new business. Resolution of the Bellmawr Redevelopment Agency, resolution number 05:026-22, authorizing payment of outstanding bills.
Make a motion.
I second the motion.
I think, yeah.
Is that you, Tom? Mr. Whitman? I think so. Tom, did you second it? All right,
Yeah.
thank you, sir. All right, any nays? And then we'll do a roll call. Chairman Philippek,
Yes.
Vice Chair Bider,
Yes.
Commissioner D'Angelo,
Yes.
Commissioner Whitman,
Yes.
Commissioner Simpson.
Yes.
All right, that is all the new business that I have. Brings us to the public portion. Do see at least one person on the line, so we'll give a delay here if there's any questions that need to be asked, would like to be asked. All right, that'll close the public portion, bring us to a meeting adjournment. Do I have a motion?
Make a
Make a
motion to adjourn
motion
the
to
meeting.
adjourn.
I think I have Mr. Simpson on the motion. Ray, did you want to second it?
Yeah.
All right. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
nays? Ayes have it. All right, thank you, gentlemen. Next meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, June 21st, and that'll do it.
Thank you, everybody.
All right,